Hi everybody, welcome to AFTV Fan Reaction Full-Time Show. My name is Laurie, I'm joined by my boy Nick.
What's going on, bro?
We've just witnessed Arsenal's remaining title hopes go up in flames in a very disappointing game from an Arsenal perspective, not if you're a Brighton fan obviously, but Nick, very quickly, because we've got fans lined up who want to have this say, a very quick assessment on what, let's face it, has been a very disappointing day for Arsenal.
Really quickly, simply put, the worst performance of the season. No fight
Agreed.
At all. We played Newcastle, who are a bigger physical side, and we played them with that same midfield, and we did our best last season to try to battle physically, and we had no physicality in that midfield this season. This week. And I think that's one of the key places that we lost the game.
Do you think,
terrible.
because the guys on the watch along, myself, Dexter, BFG, Gunnar Lee and Turkish, we were speculating that it could have something to do with the fact that City, prior to our game today, smoked Everton, and that might have just totally deflated the team to the point where we started today and it was evident from the first minute that the intensity just weren't there. Do you think there's any truth in that, or any mileage?
If there is, that's a real terrible indictment of the mentality of the team. You're going to fight until the end. You want to rack up as many points as possible for yourself. You know, everybody's got things to play for, even personally. I know Martinelli went off injured, so I'm not talking about him, but say, for example, if he's on the pitch, he's got an opportunity to be the highest scoring Brazilian in a single season. Everybody, you know, Martin Odegaard's got an opportunity to be the highest scoring midfielder in a Premier League season. There's all types of things to play for, and we can never let that mentality go. You have to play for your own pride before anything else.
Yeah, it's just that collectively we just seem to off it, and I'm not even talking about the second half, which was, let's say, pretty disastrous. But even from the start, I just think that when you compare that game to the weekend before, just a week ago against Newcastle, where we were, you know, the ultimate in intensity, today we look flat, and we just didn't look on it, man. And I'm struggling to find a reason as to why. Yeah,
I mean, maybe, you know, we'll get some calls in, maybe the fans know.
Yeah, people out there, I know they're queuing up, they want to have this say, give us a call, let us know what you think. Yeah, basically that's it. Let us know what you think. Right, do we have our first caller? Ryan. Ryan's always got a lot to say, and I'm pretty sure that we're no different
today. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Right. Okay, Ryan. So you saw the game and you look as pretty disappointed as us, probably more so. What's your thoughts on the game today?
I think we were shocking from the first minute to the last minute, to be honest. I'm struggling to take a lot of positives from that game. Brighton from the first minute, I'd say from the first 20 minutes, there wasn't much in between it. Like, we did have our opportunities where we created chances and stuff, but I just don't think we were clinical and ruthless enough in the final third. Odegaard had a good chance. Trossard hit the bar. I'm trying to think of any other chance. Saka as well. But I just feel like we were wasteful today, and Brighton wanted it more. And
I think the first half was
excellent.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, as was Matuma. I thought Matuma gave Ben White a warm time today. And when you consider that Ben White has had an outstanding season for us, the fact that he got, let's face it, man, he got run ragged, that kind of, for me, sort of epitomised today. Just wasn't our day at all. But I thought the first half was fairly even. In fact, you could say we even edged it in terms of shots on goal and stuff like that. Although noticeably they did have a lot more possession than us. But in the second half, man, we were rank poor. Nick, what do you think?
I agree with Ryan. I don't think that we edged that first half at all. Like Ryan said, we didn't create many chances. 14 shots, 7 on target is, you know, terrible. 14 shots, 2 on target. So 1 shot on target for every 7 shots is a terrible conversion rate, next to their 12 shots and 6 on target. So we're just not creating enough, not shooting enough, and we were just sloppy.
Yeah.
So Ryan, what did you put it down to then? Do you think? Because we were speculating that it's possible, and listen, we're only speculating. Of course, we don't know, but because the difference is in performances was so stark between this week and last week. We were speculating that given that City had routed Everton, let's face it, that would have been a massive disappointment for the guys. And did that play into what took place on the pitch today?
I mean, I had that mindset coming into today's game that it would have already been a hard game because of Brighton's result against Everton during the week. I just knew that De Zerbi would have had his team set up to be tactically strong in terms of having a base to keep us out of wide areas and stuff. So I knew that it would have been our tough game today. Brighton are a very good side. Our record at the Emirates isn't that good against them anyway. We haven't beaten Brighton in the last 3 Premier League games at the Emirates being here. I think they beat us last season when we were challenged for top 4, and then I think the season before that, I think they drew against us, so I might believe they might beat us as well. But
yeah, they have as well. Yeah.
we just wasn't at it. Like, we couldn't string 5 or 6 passes today, and I was watching the game with my brother, and I just said to myself, we're not going to win this game today. And the performance with Man City, yes, that may have had a little bit of an effect on our result and how we wanted to play today, but I think that's quite weak from what I'm seeing online from Arsenal supporters, because that's a mentality issue. Whoever City win, we knew we needed to win today regardless. So, and
you saw at the end of the game there, you saw the fans streaming out before the end. That's a bit of a sad indictment on the game, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The fans have been 100%. Brilliant all season, and you can't really blame them for walking out, I guess, but from an aesthetic point of view, it didn't look very good to me. It just kind of just made the whole day, it just kind of epitomised the whole day when I saw that. Just fans en masse leaving the stadium. It was just kind of sad. But listen, bro, got a lot of people who want to make their feelings known, as you've done. Thank you very much for coming on. You're always honest and forthright.
Guys,
we appreciate that. And hopefully speak to you next week in better circumstances.
Hopefully, man.
Respect. Nice.
We just have to end off this season, man.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we can do it with 2 wins. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, bro.
All right. Take it easy, Nick. Take it easy, Lord.
Nice one. Thank you. We got Pro next on the line. Is it your first time calling? I don't think I've spoken to you before.
Yeah, it's my first time.
Okay. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Leicester.
From Leicester, okay. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh. Leicester. Oh. Yeah. Well, I take it you're an Arsenal fan, not a Leicester fan. But yeah. So what did you? Yeah, there he is. Yeah. Right. Okay then. So you've heard what we've had to say. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm just gutted. The season for me was over when we couldn't beat West Ham. That's when I was like, yeah, we can't do it. If we can't beat Southampton, we can't beat West Ham, then how can we beat Brighton? Brighton having a fantastic season. How can we compete against City? It's just, and today it just shows we're nowhere near City. And I think, for me personally, I love Jesus, but I think we need a striker. We need an out-and-out striker, someone who can get us goals. Because you saw today, if we had, what can I say? For example, they have Haaland, City for Haaland, and we got Jesus. We can't compete against that. I mean, you saw it for yourself today. We didn't really put Brighton under pressure at all. It was like the City game all over again. It's like we were scared of Brighton or something.
I think
it's like we were scared of them.
The only thing I would say about Brighton is that in the first half, a couple of times they tried to play it from the back and nearly came unstuck doing so. But other than that, we didn't really get behind them, did we, Nick?
But once they played out from the back and we did nick in front of them, we didn't actually convert anything. No. They weren't coming to chances. Like Pro says, you look at City, they've got Haaland, who's a big target man. They've got Alvarez, who's maybe more similar to Jesus. They can switch things up. We have to play a certain way because we have one type of striker. We had Deeney on the wing. We had Deeney fullback and Ben White fullback. Both can get up the pitch and put crosses in, but there's no one really to aim at.
That's what I was saying as well, because literally if the ownership, if they really want us to challenge, I think when the season's finished, they need to go and get out-and-out striker. I don't care who, but we just need someone different to Jesus. Because you saw against City, every time the ball goes up to Jesus, 4 players around him and they bullied him. Today, I think it was a little bit similar, but he done a little bit better today. But it's just, for me,
but you know what? I find so baffling, Pro, is that, and this is what I just can't get my head around here. So last week we go away to Newcastle, who are arguably a better team than Brighton. Statistics say that they are. So they tell us that the league table don't lie. Newcastle are comfortably ahead of Brighton in the table. So we go there and we beat them convincingly in a hard-fought, high-intense game. We come back to our place today. We're still in the title hunt, although let's face it, City are in the driving seat. We play against a team that, yes, they are a good team and have beaten us at home before, but we're expected to win, and we put in possibly our worst performance of the season, possibly even worse than Southampton. And I just can't. What do you put that down to? Was that we were speculating that it could have been the fact that with City smashing Everton the way they did, it might have just put us out of focus a little bit. What do you think?
As a player, you shouldn't really watch what the other team does. No. You shouldn't watch. You should watch your own performance. I don't think anyone on that pitch can tell me that they done their job today. It seemed like they were just disjointed. It seemed like they didn't want to play for one another. You saw Saka when he was backtracking at the back. He was moaning at someone or something like that. It just didn't look right today. It just didn't look. Yeah, it just didn't look like we were one team. The team that I got used to this season. It just didn't look like it. I really don't know. And I feel like maybe if we had like a different striker to the one that we have, maybe it might have been different, because then we can get the ball up to him. He can hold it up. Look at their striker. When they're playing out from the back, when they're pressured, they just launch it to their striker. What's the kid's name? Ferguson. He holds it up. He brings them up the pitch. They get up. Us, we don't have that. We only got one way of playing.
It's almost like a get out of jail free card, isn't it? They're trying to play out, and if it doesn't work, they can lump it up to Ferguson, and then there's a plan B. Whereas with our striker, we're stuck. We have to play this one way.
That's a really good point. All the time. Even if it doesn't work, even if it's working, it's just the same way. If like today, is just I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone from last week the sublime to this week the ridiculous. And if next week or City's next game, if they beat Chelsea, which let's face it, they'll be strongly favoured to do, that will officially be the title. If memory serves me right, they're owned to Chelsea, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah, so it could be guard of honour time.
I mean, all we can do is just take the positive of the season. We had fun. We're top of the league. We can just. I mean, for me personally, because I've never seen my team win the Premier League the way since I started supporting them. I've never seen them win the league, but I enjoyed it. Needed the top. It was fun while it lasted, I guess.
Okay, bro. That seems like a good way to finish. And you're right. It was a good title challenge while it lasted. But I think it's fair to say that today, those title hopes are finally evaporated.
Over. Yeah.
But thanks very much, bro. Thank you for your call. You must call back again soon. Thank you.
Cheers.
Nice one. Right. Should have another caller lined up. My technical team said they're going to let us know when there's another caller on. But yeah, Nick, I can see the disappointment etched all over your face. And I'm trying to keep a lid on my emotions, man. But I'm so disappointed.
Let your emotions out, Laurie. Let them out.
Well, you know what it is? I can't help escape the feeling that it's a bit of a damp squib. And I never thought I'd be saying that today.
Yeah, whether...
To lose 3-0 at home when you're chasing the title.
Correct.
Do you know how disappointing that is?
And you said about Man City winning, and maybe that has an impact on the players. But for me, even if you feel like the league's gone, if you're in that Arsenal dressing room, you want to have some momentum going into next season, and we've just dropped that off. It's really disappointing. But I think we've got another caller now anyway.
Deeney's always quite a positive person, but even he's going to struggle today, I would suspect. Deeney, where are Bridget?
What happened, dog? What's going on, Laurie? You're right, Nick.
What's going on?
Yeah. Well, what do you make of it, man? I'm struggling, bro. I'm normally pretty good with words, but I must say I'm struggling a little bit today, bro.
Yeah, no, it's like... was it Brighton that was chasing the league title versus Man City, or was it Arsenal?
Well, good question.
They certainly look more up for it than us today. I mean, you saw De Zerbi there when they got that second goal. Man was doing knee sliding,
what?
yeah. Ultimate taking the mick.
I couldn't believe it. taking the mic. Why are we seeing these people do this on our pitch? Moonwalking, dancing, all this.
And you know what? And you know what it is as well? Is that the man warned us, because I don't know if you know, after they got smoked by Everton, which in itself was a big surprise, he said, and I quote, "The Brighton that you saw tonight against Everton was not the real Brighton. You will see the real Brighton against Arsenal on Sunday." So the man was basically telling you, listen, watch out, we're coming. And that's what another thing that just makes today just so disappointing for me. Where did it all go wrong today?
Is it the mentality? Is it? I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I'm at a loss, bro. I'm at a loss.
I was just embarrassed. I was genuinely just embarrassed. I was watching on the way home and I was like, are we not really showing anything today? Are Brighton really that good at the Emirates? You know, Brighton have come to the Emirates twice this season, and on aggregate, they've beaten us 6-1.
Yeah.
They beat us in the League Cup 3-1, and they beat us 3-0 today. Why does Brighton have this over us at Emirates? I don't understand. It's not Brighton's home. They live so far away. I don't understand. I don't know what Arteta said pre-game. I don't know what he said at halftime. I don't know what the players were doing today. Where were the leaders today?
Yeah. Well, one of the leaders got taken off. Odegaard taken off, having to give the armband to Party. Embarrassing. I don't know, man.
It's Brighton that lost 5-1 last week, and we went to Newcastle, tough away game, and got the 3 points. But it looked like we lost last week, and Brighton won last week. Do you know what I mean? You're only as good as your last performance. So where was that today at home? I cannot believe we've actually let this happen today. We saw Man City go to Everton and win the game. I was like, at the bare minimum, you have to win the game. It's already a bleak contest for the league title. It's already a bleak contest, but don't just keep going. Keep asking that question. And now what? It's done. Because there is no way Chelsea are beating Man City next week. It's not happening. It's absolutely not happening. I said to Turkish last week, we are waiting we need a well-oiled machine to break down. It's not breaking down. They're gonna go to the Etihad on Wednesday. They're gonna beat Madrid, carry that momentum into Chelsea, and the league will be done. It's just, we've been amazing this season. Absolutely amazing, and we deserve so much more.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did we let it slip? Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton. We conceded so many goals. We conceded another 3 goals today.
Yeah.
And I can't just keep it down to the manager. It's a collective. It's a collective. And this is why, like Kai said today,
yeah, I thought him and Matuma were outstanding today.
Had our
I might
players
edge
on
Matuma
ropes.
Because he made Ben White, who's had a very good season. He made Ben White. He had Ben White on toast. I can't lie.
On toast.
But listen, bro, you've got a lot of people waiting to have their say.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Deeney, man. Respect. Hopefully speak to you soon under better circumstances. Respect.
Love, bro.
Yeah.
Nice. Right, who's our next caller?
Hey.
I know that face. Normally when I see that face, he looks a lot more cheerful. He looks decidedly downbeat, downcast, as we all are. But it's my great honour and pleasure to be able to welcome along to the show today, Mr. James Bayliss of AFTV. What are you saying, bro?
Well, I mean, first, thanks for covering me, guys.
No worries.
As I haven't been in all week, as you can probably hear.
Yeah. Oh, James the picture's frozen. Technical team?
His Wi-Fi is struggling as much as he is at the moment.
Yeah. We'll come back to James. Sorry about that, people. James's picture's frozen. Our technical team, our very capable technical team, are working on it, and we'll get it sorted. But still can't get my head around the
how much do we give credit to Brighton?
You got to give Brighton a lot of credit first,
because that's the thing. Because they've come to the Emirates and we are, in the title race. We've been top of the table for a large part of the season. That's the talk. The talk is, and rightly so. We're Arsenal. We're a big club, and that's what you expect when you're a big club. But tactically, they got it spot on today. You have to say that.
They did.
And we played maybe not into their hands, but the lack of winning physical duels is what makes me look at a Rice or a Caicedo and say, actually, we need this player. Caicedo not even playing in his natural position today, by the way, right, and giving a real man of the match-esque performance from a right back position. You know, which of our, you know, we talk about Thomas Partey. Would you put Thomas Partey right back? I know he's done it before, but probably not. You know, so you're looking at these types of players that might cost you 80, 90 million, but can play multiple positions and play multiple positions at a top level. Yeah. And there was no physical prowess in that midfield at all. Not a little bit. I would
say all over the pitch.
All over the pitch, of course, but the in the midfield is where we needed it the most. You know, with no winning of second balls, really, really disappointing. And to be honest, they just wanted it more, and that's so difficult. That's what makes it really difficult to swallow.
How can they want it more though?
Exactly.
They're supposed to be going for a title.
Exactly. That's the question. That's the conundrum.
And the thing is as well, and I've said it before, but I've got to say it again because it's so obvious to me, is that when you compare the difference in intensity between this week and last week, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
How could that have just evaporated over the course of a few days?
Only certain players have the mental and physical ability to keep up a high intensity over a long period of time. A lot of that does come from the squad, because the better the squad, I know you guys were arguing on the panel about, you know, Reece Nelson getting singled out and different things like that. The better the bench is, the more you can rotate and the more you can keep up some intensity over a longer period of time. But you know what was so difficult today is that it was everywhere. They had more shots, well, they had less shots, but they had more shots on target, better passing, better possession. You know, Caicedo is second for all tackle before the game, was second for all tackles in the Premier League, and you could see why today. And Lewis Dunk was number 1 for passes. You know, so you could see why. You could see, you know, it's really disappointing.
Right, we should have another call on the line. William's in the house. Hi, William. How you doing?
What's going on, boys? How you doing?
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the U.S., Tampa.
Tampa, Florida. Right. Big up the Florida, massive. Yeah. Okay, take it away then. So you probably heard what myself and Nick have had to say. What's your thoughts on the game today?
It's you know, it's disappointing. What can I tell you? Yeah. You know, I mean, pretty much it's over. But for me, I felt like the title race, you know, has been done since Southampton, to be fair. When you look at the starting lineup that Michael put out today, it's the same starting lineup with the exception of Kieran Tierney starting, to be fair. And pretty much what you said, Laurie. I mean, it's like night and day.
It is.
You know, the boys had no intensity whatsoever, and it just looked completely dead. But when you look at Roberto Di Agerbi and what he started with, he had Gross, Ferguson, Mitoma, who just basically just did donuts around Ben White today. They just looked on it. 3-0, fair play. Pretty much.
You highlighted the Tierney Zinchenko thing. So are you alluding to the idea that that's where you put, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong, I just want to flesh this out a little bit. Is that where you think the lack of intensity comes from?
No, not at all.
No.
I think that with Kieran Tierney, I mean, it really wouldn't have made a difference if Zinchenko would have been on anyway. Because the boys, I mean, they just showed no intensity. Even if we had Tierney or Zinchenko, they were playing in that position.
Yeah.
There was no fight.
The talk of the season is that, you know, the argument is that Zinchenko gives you more control of the ball, but Tierney's better defensively. Today we were mostly defending, and if it was Zinchenko, maybe it's 4-5-0, you know, based on those arguments.
Yeah, I think for me it was a collective thing today. I don't think any individual player was many worse or better than any of the others, to be honest.
I wanted to highlight this though, boys. I mean, when it comes to Zinchenko, I feel like he'll be better off as center mid, because I feel like Arteta can easily shift him into that number 6 position, pair him up with Odegaard. You can have Partey or Jorginho switch off. It will be a much balanced, collected midfield, and then you can have Tierney at left back. It's not that hard to play them both in the same starting 11. I've been calling out for this ever since the Liverpool game, but he hasn't done it.
Did you say Zinchenko in the 6, or did you mean the 8? The 6 being like the real defensive anchor, because he's not great defensively for breaking up play and not super physical like a Thomas Partey.
The number 6.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Zinchenko as a 6. I think the problem that he has is that he's a 6 or 7 out of 10 in both positions, but he's not a 9 or a 10 out of 10 in either position. He's not necessarily a world-class left-back on its own, and he's not necessarily a world-class centre-mid. And when we're going into trying to compete for Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues and things like that, I'm just not... He's really good to have in the squad. I really like what he's done so far this season. I don't think he's a Champions League or Premier League winning DM. You know, if you look at when he was at City,
he's certainly not better than Tierney defensively.
But if you look at when he was at City, he struggled to start even at left back, let alone starting competing with the likes of Rodri or maybe even Fernandinho when he was there. You know, you wouldn't put him up. So would you? So you would have Zinchenko as in a 6 over Thomas Partey?
I mean, at this point, yes. I mean, we're near at the end of the season. I mean, Arteta, if he really is keen on trying to experiment with the team, why not? I mean, at this point, I mean, he's good at balancing passes. He's good at good ball control. Why not? I figured at this point.
I think
because I mean, I know that we've been heavily linked to Declan Rice as well as Caicedo, but at least for now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I think if we can't get through our next couple games without having drastic shifts and position changes, then I think that's a really sad indictment of how much the wheels have fallen off. But you're right, he has experimented with the team a little bit, and even when we threw on all the attacking players at the end, we've got a lot of goal scorers on the pitch and still just didn't really come to anything. Really disappointing.
Yeah, today was beyond flat. It was just poor.
But you know what, lads? I'm not gonna lie. Even though today's result was very disappointing, I think what's more disappointing was the fact that the amount of supporters who left the Emirates Stadium today.
Yeah, I commented on that on a couple of calls ago. That was quite sad to see that to me.
Mm-hmm. Because. Yeah, I'm sorry, Laurie. I don't mean to. I'm going to cut you off. I really do apologize.
No.
But it's just, listen. We have been supporting this team for this whole season. They've given us a fantastic season. No one expected us to be in this title race whatsoever. You know what I mean? And these guys, they've given us a great race. Yes, and we have to support them no matter what. You know what I mean? I think it's just mad that these guys just left the stadium. I would do anything to be at that stadium, you know what I mean? I don't care if the security guard had to just throw me out of the Emirates. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much.
I can actually put my hand on I've been to many games. I used to be season ticket holder at Arsenal. I'm not this season because I'm working on the games, obviously, but I have never ever left a game before the end. And to see that today, because it wasn't just a few people, it was en masse. I mean, you saw the pictures, people streaming out of the ground before the end of the season. And let's be honest, something that us as Arsenal fans have been laughing at other clubs at this season. And to see that, it just summed up what was a pretty poor day. But listen, bro, thank you very much for your call. Really appreciate it.
Thank you,
call
boys.
all the way from Tampa. Big up yourself, and you must call back again soon.
Thank you. Much love, guys.
Yeah, man.
Cheers,
respect. Bro. Take care. Right, he's back. James B in the house. We've done the introductions. Go straight in, James. What's your thoughts?
Sorry about that, everyone. So I mean, I was saying that you can get involved in a competitive back and forth affair with Brighton. Maybe that they nick a goal. Maybe they just something goes their way. You lose the game. That can happen. Brighton are a very, very good team. And I think for a lot of the first half, I mean, I was listening to the commentary obviously because I wasn't there. I was watching it with my family, and They were saying how brilliant Brighton were. I actually thought Arsenal edged the first half just in terms of the chances.
Yeah, I thought that.
But within edging it in terms of creating chances, you've also got to show some quality when those chances come. And I felt that quality really lacked actually. And I don't really think I could sort of question the commitment or the urgency too much in the first half. I thought we looked a bit messy. I thought Brighton did quite well. But the second half was really, really disheartening. I think the reason being is we've seen this team 3-1 down at home to, albeit Southampton, who have now been relegated. But even when that was a must-win and we thought, what's even the point fighting back here? They fought back for something. And generally, they've shown fight all season. I know you could say Brighton were too good for us, and maybe in some ways that's true. But I think a lot of that second half, the frustration on why maybe so many fans left, and I'm not necessarily condoning that's the right thing to do. I'm not going to say what each individual fan should and shouldn't do. Everyone's got their own lives and their own situations or whatever. But I think there was a real frustration of that performance, not just because Brighton were very good and we were struggling to handle it, but because there was a relaxed nature to that performance. I didn't feel the players were playing like they knew they had to win it. I didn't feel like the intensity was there. When we went a goal down.
We said that.
Yeah, when we went a goal down, they seemed to just almost like panic. You know what? They were playing like the title was done. And the reality is it probably is. Maybe they thought City would get something at Everton, and actually City winning the way they did just knocked them a bit. I don't know. I don't want to make...
You know what, James, right? It's so interesting that you should have that assessment, because that's exactly what we were saying at the watch along, and myself and Nick. So I honestly think that subconsciously today, when they've seen Man City not just beat Everton but roll over them like that fairly comfortably, it could be that in their minds, they'll never admit it publicly, but subconsciously they're kind of not so much giving up but accepting their fate as runners up rather than champions. So therefore that level of intensity that they would have needed, that they showed last week, because this is what I couldn't understand. I'm like, how can we go to Newcastle, right, and show that almost dogs of war type attitude last week, and then you get to this week in front of your own fans, you're still in it technically, and just be so flat, especially in the second half? So
well, I think the key thing is that bit there, especially in the second half. The first half, you know, I know I've touched on it already, but we did win the ball back high quite a few times. We did, you know, have a few turnovers, get a few shots at goal. I think if Odegaard's decision making is a bit better, we probably have a few better chances. I think Trossard should score. So actually, there's a world in which Arsenal come out of that first half performance a goal up.
Yeah, I thought we slightly... I mean, Nick disagreed with me, but I agree with you. I thought we slightly... It wasn't like, you know, amazing, but I think we slightly edged it. But I think for me, James, the turning point, and I say this a lot, goals change games.
Yeah.
Brighton scored in the 51st minute, which is 6 minutes after the second half started. And I think once that goal went in, I think you could see the confidence evaporate from the team.
And we'd had a decent spell in that 5 minutes, starting the second half. Then they score, and then quite frankly, we were ghosts out there. We couldn't get anywhere near them, and that's when I thought Brighton were at their most impressive. The way they could have just sat into a shell and tried to stop us playing, but they didn't. They just played their way through in 3-0.
What did you think of Caicedo today?
Yeah, brilliant. You know, and again, how many times was he? Yes, he was a right back, but how many times was he drifting into midfield to get the ball? You know, and it's so funny because everyone wants to tell me how terrible Zinchenko is defensively, which I think is slightly overblown anyway. But you saw what we lacked in him, you know, not coming into midfield, not being able to dominate. Tierney was very much asked not to do that role. And so we looked like we were missing something. Just a few other things, guys, just sort of particular points I want to touch on. The first goal where Kivior goes down holding his ankle. By the way, I thought, it's hard to say he had a really good game after that. I thought for most of the game he was pretty good, actually. But you do want to...
See, I've got an observation on that.
Oh, go on.
And this is something that I said at the watch along, so I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. Right, for me, Kivior gets his ankle trodden on, okay? Now, listen, I know everyone's threshold of pain is different, right? But what I'm saying, you expect your centre-halves to be grizzled and tough and, you know what I mean, not show out too much. To me, I'm just going to keep it real. I was a little bit disappointed that he went to ground so quick, because by doing so, he allowed Enciso just a free header, and he took it. For me, you stay on your feet. When the ball is cleared, that's when you get... When the ball is cleared, or when the attack, you know what I mean, you've got the ball in possession and whatever, you could stay down for 10, 15 minutes, I don't care. But to me, you don't go down like that. You don't take a knee like that, bro. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you do one of two things. Firstly, I'd like you to do everything you can to stay on your feet and just, you know, put your body in the way of whatever comes through. But like you said, everyone's pain threshold's different. He was caught, in fairness, so, you know, sometimes those little small ones that don't look like a big deal can actually be really painful. But you do one of two things. A, the first thing I'd like you to do, just stand up to it and see out till the ball's out of play. Or if you're going to go down absolutely screaming and wailing and arms in the air and everything. Don't just sort of slowly go down to your ankle and give it a little rub and sort of, you know, head down. Oh, that's a bit painful, because no one cares. You know, you got to do one or the other, and he did neither. And And yeah, just a bad moment for him. The other thing I thought was really disappointing, besides the fact that they were just disaster classes across the pitch. I mean, everyone poor in possession, sloppy passes, a lack of intensity. I thought Arteta's subs were really, really appalling today, actually. He brought Xhaka and Jorginho off. I'm not sure Xhaka deserved to come off.
He did look a bit pissed when he was taken off, I must admit.
Yeah, that was a bit too quick for me. Then he decided, because I think you take Xhaka off once you've got control of the game, once you're camped in their third, and you go, okay, we need Trossard's inventiveness. But we haven't got to that stage yet. We need to get on the ball again. And we need to show a little bit of resilience and character. And Xhaka this season has epitomised that. Yeah. That was weird. I understood him bringing Partey on for Jorginho because it was quite transitional, the game, but Partey had a shocker. And to be fair, that's just true to form right now. I thought Jesus was the only one who looked like doing something in the front three. Took him off. Saka goes another 90 minutes. Besides the fact that Saka hasn't really deserved to complete a 90 minutes for a while, and I love Saka, but I'm just being honest with his performances. My word, give the kid a break. Give the kid a break. He has played so much football. And you could have moved Jesus outright if you want to bring on Nketiah. And then speaking to a point you made last week, Laurie, which was spot on, Smith Rowe barely gets any appearances. Comfortably ahead against Chelsea, you don't see him. Didn't get a couple minutes against Newcastle, did he? No. Didn't see him really in that 7-match winning run.
This is where the chickens come home to roost. If you've not been using these guys, then all of a sudden you throw them on expecting to do big things. But James, I hate to have to do this to you, bro, because you're my brethren and love you like cooked food. However, we got
of course.
People. I could go on.
I know how it is. Yeah, but thank you for having me on.
I hope you're feeling much better, by the way. I know you are.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you. I'm on the mend, so appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Nice,
see you soon.
Respect.
See you in a bit.
Take care. Okay, that was James's thoughts, and I thought he was spot on, as he normally is, of a lot of those things.
Yeah, I think also you have to remember that Partey and Xhaka is the combination that won us, that kept us in the top of the table. So why deviate from that formula now?
I'm still scratching my head, bro. Maybe our next caller can offer some insight as to it. Right, we've got our next caller on the line. Maybe. Hey, he's normally Mr. Positive. I'll be very interested to
please bring us something.
Put a positive spin on what's happened today, because there are literally, I can't think of any positives. But here we go. What do you say?
Laurie, and good evening, guys. It's been a roller coaster day for me, like some of the players today. I really think the Everton game had a lot of impact on this game for the Arsenal player, because even the fans, we had hopes that Everton was going to take at least a point from Manchester City.
That's what we were hoping, yeah.
And if you see the way Manchester City roll over the Everton, I think it really dampened their confidence, and just everybody's mood was just down. So I'm not going to fault the players. It's been a really good season for us, even though we did not end up winning the most important league, which we all thought we were going to win. Like you said, Laurie, the league was in our hands, and it was us to lose, and we actually shocked at the crunch moment. So, fair play to the guys, fair play to the players. But there's something I really want to point out. I believe the caller before James actually pointed it out. I do not imagine how a lot of fans left that stadium today.
Yeah, that was yet another disappointing aspect to a very disappointing day. And in many ways, it just kind of summed up the whole day to see that, actually. That was like the final curtain.
4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, this time of the league, we are carrying banner. We want our Arsenal back. We want Cronkey hats. And now we're in the league title with one of the best teams we ever seen, Manchester City, going toe-to-toe with them. At least this player, they are the second youngest team in the league. They've done their bit, which I feel they could have done better in some of the games which we lost. But the way the fans turned their back on the players today, not all the fans, so the way most of the fans turned their back on the players today is really, really appalling. And I'm watching on the players' rating today. I really want to see what that person on the player rating is going to give to the fans, because if I see anything more than 3 for the fans, promise you, I'm going to have a word with whatever we're doing in.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate on that, we did have a conversation about that on stream, and I think it was Guna Lee was saying that, listen, man, the fans have the right to do that because they were expressing their disappointment with the performance, which, you know, I hear that to a degree, but I just think that, as you pointed out, the team have been outstanding for pretty much the majority of the season. And then today obviously was poor. It was probably their worst performance of the season. But then for the fans to leave en masse before the game, and it was so noticeable, so obvious, the cameras kept panning to the stand. It just didn't feel right. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel mixed about that. You know, a lot of our fans, you know, AFTV's got a fan base that's all around the world, and so a lot of the fans are either not from London or maybe even not from the UK, which is amazing. But for the fans, some of those guys have very, very long journeys, and when I first saw the first shot of some of the fans leaving, maybe I missed the earlier shot, but it was over the 90-minute mark. There were 8 minutes of added time, and it was already 2-0. The game was only going one way, so I understand both sides of I've stayed. I was there for the Emery days, Europa League in the rain, watching the Frankfurt game and stuff like that. So I've been there, and I appreciate staying there for as long as possible. But I do understand why, after a 3 or 4 hour journey to get there, and you see that type of performance, you think, you know what? If I want to vent my frustration, it might be better I vent this frustration outside the stadium rather than in the stadium.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But do you think if we're winning that game by 3-0, those fans would leave?
Not that many fans. No, definitely not. No, of course not.
So saying they have something to do or they have a long journey, that's not an excuse for me, because I myself, I will do everything possible to
of course.
Sure I'll be in that place. I've never left a game once. Even while watching on the screen, I can't even turn off my screen, even if we're down. This season has been a positive season for us. We've made a lot of friends, we've made a lot of enemies, and at the end of the day, it's a game of football. This is the second youngest team in the league, and we have done our bit, and I'm really proud of these players. We'll go on next season again, Laurie.
Absolutely.
Well said. I knew you would end on a positive note. You always do, man. Respect due to you. Thank you very much for the call. Hopefully you'll call back next week when things are a lot more positive, both off the pitch and on the pitch. Thank you, bro.
Love, bro.
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you for having me, guys.
Wilson's up next. All right, Wilson looks upset, man.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Right, we've got to keep it brief because we got a few callers lined up. But take it away, Wilson. What's your thoughts on the game today?
Absolutely fuming. We were absolutely awful. Every time Arsenal had the ball, Brighton pressed us. They pressed us, their chances, they dominated most of the game. We couldn't even, like, some of it, I mean, the first goal we conceded, Kivior, what was he doing? He was on the ground, Laurie. On the ground. You're meant to be on your feet.
I must admit, I am...
Come on now.
I've got mixed feelings on that because I don't want to dig the player out too much. But as soon as I saw it and I saw the replay, I thought, okay, someone trod on your ankle. Maybe your Achilles might have felt a sharp pain there. And as I said before, everyone's pain threshold is different. However, you expect your big grizzly centre halves, man, to stand up to that, man. When the ball's getting played, then you can drop down on the floor and wail and scream all you want. But I don't know.
And then the moment that Brighton scored their second goal, I switched it off. We were poor. We were awful all round. And some of Arteta's substitutions again. Like, why was he taking two midfielders off? He weakened us as a result of it. It was shocking all round. Despite our brilliant season, nobody expected us to be in the title race. We've had a brilliant season. We've clearly had a title race. But it's just, unfortunately, in the last couple of games, we just haven't been able to do it. But Chelsea,
you say a couple of games. You say a couple of games, Wilson, but like I couldn't understand. So last weekend, we went to Newcastle in the cold room. We were brilliant. People said performance of the season, which I was one of those that said,
I agree with that.
This week, 7 days removed, we're at home, in front of our own fans, playing Brighton, a team who, even though they're good, let's be honest, Newcastle are a stronger side, and we get beaten by them comprehensively in what was probably our worst performance.
3-0 and in our own backyard. It's embarrassing, Laurie. It's embarrassing.
Wilson, why did that happen?
Because there was no intensity. We were flat. We were flat, Laurie. Absolutely flat.
Yeah, but why though? Why are we so flat?
Because there was a lack of intensity. There was nothing there. There was nothing there.
Do you think that we've been speculating that it's possible that subconsciously City smoking Everton the way they did might have had an adverse effect on the players' mentality? So when we went to goal down now, it's almost as if they thought, nah, this title really is over, and they played accordingly. What do you think about that?
I get the feeling it did affect the players to a certain extent, and also the moment that we were 1-0 down, I just didn't see any fight at all. Yeah. Like when we were behind so many times, we showed that fight and determination. There was none of that at all. None of that at all. And that disappointed me the most. I was fuming. And I was literally throwing my headphones down several times. We were awful, Laurie. Awful, all round. And everybody knows it.
Right, just quickly, because we've got some other callers lined up. What would you like to see for the last couple of games? Do you think make some significant changes, or just see out the season with a team, the strongest team, or whatever?
I would say stick with the strongest team. You can't just give up easily like that. No matter.
No, not so much give up, but I'll give some of the guys who have been on the periphery. You might as well throw them in now. Eddie, Smith
possibly, because everybody knows that the title race is done.
Exactly,
it's done. It's done in my view, and all we need to do now is just win our 2 games and just give some of these players a chance and just kick on again next season.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, listen, bro, thank you very much for your call. Appreciate that. Honest and forthright as usual. Big up yourself. Nice one.
Anytime. Take care, guys.
Respect. We've got Jamal on the line.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, he doesn't look happy, man. Jamal, your top part of your face is... Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, Jamal, you've heard what we've had to say, I'm sure. What's your thoughts on the game today?
I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised.
Really?
It's been a long time coming. It's really not. They've been fatigued for a minute. They didn't sign up in January. Yeah, I'm not surprised. This is usually what happens with Arsenal, where they lose steam towards the end of the season, and we have a mid-collapse, and we just didn't get the right reinforcements in January to give us that extra push. You can look back in, just an example, 2013-14, we didn't get Julian Draxler, and that kind of I'm not saying he would have made a big difference, but he would have helped. We didn't get reinforcements that season. We lost 5-0 to Liverpool, 6-0 to Chelsea, barely made top 4. And now it's looking like we're barely scraping through, just going through the motions, taking second place. But
we weren't saying that last week against Newcastle. We're saying the opposite.
Yeah, but the thing is, we've got this team called Man City who just have an A team and a B team of superstars, and they're so experienced. The manager is so experienced, and our players are still young, which is good for the future. But for right now, we just can't compete with them on a mentality, on a financial status. So there was always that looming, and they've done it so many times against Liverpool, against Chelsea, against Man United, where they've won 10 games unbeaten, literally towards the end of the season, win after win after win. It's just repeat after repeat every season, They had that one season against Liverpool where Laporte got injured, and I think Liverpool were just the best team in the world. But other than that, they've just been dominant. So they've been here so many times, and this is our first time.
I can't argue with anything you say there. So listen, there's a couple of games left. What would you like to see for those last 2 games in terms of team selection? I was saying to the previous caller that I think some of the guys that have been, what I would say, almost criminally underused, the likes of Smith Rowe, Eddie, Reece, 1 or 2 others even. Would you like to see them come in, or do you finish the season in what the manager would see as the strongest team?
You know what? I think Reece Nelson deserves a start just on one of those last 2 games, maybe against Nottingham or against Wolves at the end of the season, because that's the last game and pretty much the season's over by then. Because when he came on, he's all positive. He was very positive. He moved conviction. He was trying to shoot even from the box. He was taking those speculative efforts. He was taking on the defenders. He was our best player when he came on. I think he deserves to start. And I didn't see much from Emil Smith-Rowe. I think look out for him next season, but give him a start too. Get him a run into, get his warmed up for the season. But I think he's for the next season. And Nketiah, I don't know if he's gonna get sold in mid-season, but yeah, he could get a start too, because Jesus, Like, I like Jesus, but he's not that big man striker. He's not that target man, that we need. And I think for the last two games, maybe the last one, we can give Nketiah a start or something.
Yeah, I would agree
with that.
Yeah, pretty much. Nick, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I don't know. I would maybe push back a little bit, Jamal, on not getting the squad in January. I think more of that responsibility falls on Arteta for not playing them. You mentioned Reece Nelson. Whenever he comes on the pitch, he looks electric. He looks class. Trossard and Jorginho probably had their worst performances in an Arsenal shirt today, but they don't get huge amounts of minutes. They rarely start unless there's injuries. So that the players are there. Saka plays every minute of every game, no matter what happens, no matter if he's good or bad, rain, sleet or snow. Similar with Partey, he had to have poor performances back to back and get injured for Jorginho to get a start. And then obviously in defence, we have two of our arguably starting defenders in Tomiyasu and Saliba both injured. So I think we have the squad, but he just refuses to rotate, and I don't think it'll be any different for the last two games. It looks like Reece Nelson's out of contract and doesn't want to sign, so I don't think he'll start him because he'll say, well, you're leaving anyway, so what's the point? Could maybe see a Jorginho, maybe an Nketiah, I don't know, but again, if he doesn't want to, if he's going to look to bring in a striker, do we bother starting Nketiah? Do we not try and persist with Jesus and get him up to scratch for that?
Point.
Do you know what I mean? Like, why are we going to start playing these players now if they're not part of the project?
I heard a stat actually yesterday. I think I'm right in saying that Arsenal one of the two teams with the least rotation of their squads in the Premier League.
You could see that from eye test. This guy does not rotate the squad. Someone has to have a limb falling off. Saka, Gabriel was stumbling around injured in one game. He wouldn't take him off. Saka kept going down injured, and he wouldn't take. If these guys, he will not take them off. And I don't know how much that's down to the project and how much it's down to not trusting them. But he needs to have a big transfer window, and I don't mean big as in huge money, but big as in bringing players that you trust. So next season, everybody can get minutes, because this running players into the ground thing has to stop.
Okay, very quick last word to our caller. What would you like to see for the end of the season? 2 games left.
Oh, like I said, I give Reece Nelson a start, but I just want the boys to go out, with pride. Don't just whimper in the last 2 games and just coast through it and be like, we follow the league, but whatever, let's just coast through it. Just go with pride, get the 6 points, get the job done. Give the fans something to cheer about against Wolves, and then rebuild next season. And I will say this, just on the last word, bro. Like, as far as rebuilding goes, this one is a painful one to take. This season is painful because we were there, bro. We had it. But if you look at what Arteta has done in the past 4 years, we would have never dreamt at the beginning of the season that we'd be in the in the league title race.
Agreed.
Now look at us, second, and it just it gives you hope for the future. This is a tough one to swallow, but I think next season, like you said, if he does reinforce the squad and does make the big money signings to help us rotate the squad and ship some things here and there, I don't know what he can do. I think next season look out for Arsenal, especially now that we're in the Champions League. No one talks about the fact that now we're in the Champions League. Now you're going to sign players and you can tell them you're playing Champions League football. You're not playing Europa League. So that's another way to attract big players.
Okay, bro.
And lastly, sorry, I just want to give a shout out to you guys, AFTV. I've been watching you since 2013.
Wow.
You guys, I've been watching you since high school. And I just want to give a shout out to the whole team, you, Robbie, Cecil, Pippa, Troops, RIP Claude, Ty, a lot, bro. You guys spoil us, and it's been amazing watching you guys grow over the years.
That,
and
I appreciate it.
I wanted to give you guys your flowers before I leave.
I'll be certain to pass that on. Thank you very much, bro.
Big love, bro.
Take care.
I appreciate you, bro.
Right, we've got Diallo on next. Diallo, what are you saying, man? So just picking up on the theme from the previous caller, because he did make an interesting point about next season we'll be challenging on 2 fronts, Premier League and the Champions League. And obviously today we spoke about the squad depth not being as strong as it might be. If we're going to bring in players, we're going to have to ship some out. Who would you like to see, well, maybe not like to, who do you think needs to be shipped out for next season?
I think you can look at it 2 ways. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you,
Yeah. So I think you can look at it from a point of view of which players do you expect to have the most, income from, to raise the most revenue from. So who are the most valuable players that we can sell to get enough, money to in order to go and buy better players. You can look at it that way. So players, maybe you can say I don't know if you can get much from Pepe. You know, Eddie, I think, has a lot of value still for Premier League teams. You can get maybe 20, 30 million for him. Maybe Balogun. You know, those are the kind of, I don't think you get anything from Rob Holding or Granit Xhaka. These players, nobody's going to spend money on them. So you can look at it that way in terms of how much you can raise, or you can look at it as which, you know, positions that need the most competition, that needs to be improved, and, you know, just make those brutal decisions in terms of saying the midfield is the most important, so we are going to fix that. If that means selling Granit Xhaka, Partey, whatever it is, you can look at it by position and, you know, fix it that way, you know, without looking into our account how much money you're going to raise, just going straight up. I think I mean, there's no money we can get from Luis Nelson. He's on his last year, right? So he's a free agent. So that doesn't, if he was on contract, I think he could be an interesting asset. So so I'm not quite sure. I would say like an Eddie, Flo Balogun, those players. Tierney, I'm a little bit kind of torn because I think he can give us a lot of money, and more importantly, I don't think Arteta would use him if he has the choice not to, you know? So, and that is a big asset that you can't let sit on the bench for another whole season except for like 5 to 10 games. You know, that's not a good use of resources, and that's not good squad management. But Laurie, I just want to say something besides the summer. I am a little bit disappointed with the way our fans and some of our players have lost their nerve. And in the last weeks, you know, it kind of shows that we haven't been in this position, both as a club but as a fan base, for a really, really long time. You know, I run marathons, and like I remember the first marathon I ran, you know, because I trained for like, you know, 14 to 18 weeks. So I thought I was on peak. I was running. I got to the 15 mile, 18 miles. I was like, this is easy, you know.
Oh no! You thought it was easy, right?
You know, by the 15, 18 mile, I was like, yeah, this is, you know, why were they talking about? And then the moment I hit like that 19, 20 miles, you basically crash. You know, your whole spirit gets crushed. You don't even know where the energy is left, so you have to dig very deep to find that energy. And I think some of our players ran out of gas. You know, players, and I don't want to name call anybody. I just want to highlight some of the key players that we relied on. And if you remember, Laurie, going back to until like the international break, like the most recent international break, our title charge was not built on offense; it was built on defense. Right? We were very. I mean, that's why away from home we have the most clean sheets. And that is very difficult to do. And obviously, Saliba is very important in that. So what happened is we lost our defensive structure. And so some of the players got stretched, you know, both in terms of tactically, but also in terms of their energy, like Ben White. Ben White is one of the most, you know, one of the high-performing players for us this season. But you can see that the last few weeks, he's been stretched, you know. And I don't want to blame him. I just think that he's been, if he was at Man City, look at Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker wasn't playing for 2 months, right? And then he just got in like that. Last week, they made 7 changes. That doesn't just keep your mind fresh, but it also keeps your body fresh as well. So when you come in, you make the right decisions and you're fresh to go. You know, you're not. Ben White has been running around, and look at the players he's facing every week. You know, those wingers, there's no rest. It doesn't matter whether you're facing a winger from Bournemouth, Everton, or Man City. They're gonna push you to the limit. Likewise,
got pushed to the limit today by Matuma.
Yeah. So the same thing for like, I think Ramsdale is another one. Again, he's one of our top performing players. I think we need people to push him. We need a goalkeeper that can actually push him, you know, and threaten his position. Matt Turner, I'm in the US. We love him. He was playing here in Boston. He was playing for the New England Revolution. We love him here. You know, we love him.
League games, he was decent, for sure.
But I don't think Arteta would use him if he doesn't have to. You know, so, and then our big players, man, Laurie, I mean, some of our big players, they haven't really showed up in this last running. And again, you can say they lost their nerve, or they lost out of the gas. You know, like Partey.
I'm just, you know, conscious that we got some other callers, and then you made some very interesting points.
Very, very good points. I agree with most of what you said as well. Sure.
I pretty much, and I do like your analogy with the marathon. That was very good. Unfortunately, though, we've got to cut it short because we've got some other callers waiting on the line and we're running out of time. But listen, bro, thank you very much. And keep calling. Keep support.
No worries, man. No worries. Take care.
Love, bro.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Okay. Elliot? Oh, man. That picture tells 1,000
says
words,
it all.
man. Yeah. So 3 players in, 3 players out. We're on that theme of is he frozen or is he?
I'm here.
Oh no, he's not.
No, he's just angry.
Right, yeah. Just before you give your overall assessment, we're on that theme of players in and out. So 3 players in, 3 players out. Just very briefly before you start your what looks like it could be a rant. So 3 players in, 3 players out very quickly.
3 players in. Rice, Caicedo, and let's shoot.
Tony?
Striker, Tony. Ivan Tony. Perfect.
Yeah. 3 players out.
3 powers out. I would say, and I can't believe I'm saying this. 3 players out. Partey.
All right.
Let me say. Partey, Xhaka, and for all intents and purposes, Tierney. There it is.
Not Rob Holding.
Oh, Rob Holding, yeah, definitely. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I didn't want to inform a decision, but this is why Elliot's my guy, because a lot of people are going to dispute the Granit Xhaka one, but a lot of people don't want to have this conversation about Thomas Partey. We had this conversation, previously about Thomas Partey and is he as good as people think he is? His highs are very high and his lows are very low. I think he has the widest disparity of quality of performance of anybody in the squad. I think Rob Holding's best and worst performance is closer than Thomas Partey's best and worst performance. I think he's borderline fraud territory, and I'm with Elliot. I think this summer, I think so. If we can get the people like Caicedo, and especially what we saw today. Sorry, Elliot, I know it's your call, but especially what we saw today of Caicedo being able to play right back and central midfield, getting someone like him in, getting a target man, and I would dispute the Xhaka one, but for sure.
Okay, Elliot, and moving to your overall assessment of the game, which obviously is why you called in. Got to keep it fairly brief though, because we're coming to the end and we've got a few more callers. But take it away, bro. What was your thoughts on today's game?
Right, let's roll on. Like James said, Arsenal were beaten before they headed onto the pitch. When they saw that scoreline that up in Liverpool with Everton and Man City, they gave up. It showed the mettle of this team, which is fragile. It's a young side. It's fragile. When they walked out on the pitch, it showed. They could not link a pass together. They couldn't get their heads in the game. And it was a horror show. It was the worst match of the season. But we were still in it. Somehow, some way. Give Brighton credit. De Zerbi got these guys ready, and they played us off the literal park today. Literal park. And you know what? I said, Arteta, you better go shake that man's hand even before the game was over, because he literally outmanaged you today. He outmanaged you. And you cannot say that about many. Only person you can say that about is Pep. That's the only one. De Zerbi outmanagement. A masterclass performance. Secondly, when you get into the substitutions, okay, you take off what was it now? Xhaka and Jorginho, fine. Okay, great. Then I get the realization that he actually taken up Odegaard and Jesus together when we're looking for a goal. I don't know if he had a brain transplant at that time, but quite simply, it may have happened because he totally went devoid of any sort of sense of reality. The only one who was actually taking it, only maybe 2 who were taking it to Brighton at the time were Jesus and Odegaard. It was a concession to me. It was a literal concession. It was Arteta saying, I give up. Mea culpa. I'm done here. I cannot inspire these players anymore. And yet, then he brought on Smith Rowe and he brought on Nketiah. From then on, I said, you know what? You're not long for this team. You're not long for this league. And you know what? Bang, bang, 2 goals went in, and we were absolutely destroyed today. Thirdly, and finally, this is the clarion call to the Cronkies. Make no mistake about it. This is going to be the biggest summer in Arsenal history in terms of transfers. No mistake about it. Caicedo was a master class today. It was a master class.
And he was at right back.
Literally, and at right back.
Yeah.
How rare is it a right back gets man of the match?
Well, what I would say, what was so impressive about that performance for me was, I mean, personally, I think him and Matuma were probably joint man of the match. But what was so impressive for me is the fact that he was being played out of position today, and yet he still dominated. So
he bossed our midfield, and he wasn't even playing in the midfield.
Thank you.
That's insane.
It was. And Matuma, by the way, gave Ben White a warm time. And we all know that Ben White has been one of our best players this season.
But that's a little bit different because we also know that, as much as we know that, we also know that Mitoma is one of the best wingers in the league. So you could it's not an excuse, but we know Mitoma is a top class player. But our midfield should be competing with their midfield. Their midfield is not a level above our midfield. And this guy's stepping out from they've got Billy Gilmore.
Yeah, that's
Billy
true.
Gilmore, Scottish from Chelsea on loan. Is he on loan? I don't even know if they bought him or if he's on loan. They've got him and Basuma, not Basuma, and Caicedo stepping out of position to boss our midfield.
Credit to our caller as well. What you said about De Zerbi, I also believe that as well. I thought he was outstanding today, and you could.
He was outstanding.
The man was doing knee slides.
But exactly like Elliot said, if Smith, Erdegaard's been the guy getting most of our goals, and when we've needed goals, long shots outside the box, he's growing into that. We've wanted it from him for a while. He's starting to grow into it, and then you take him off for Smith Rowe, who you haven't given any minutes to, presumably because you don't really trust him or rate him. What is there that Smith Rowe is going to do against this Brighton team
especially when you've not been playing him
that
all
Erdegaard
season?
Can't do? What do you mean? There's no way that you take off Jesus for but this is why we need the summer. Exactly what you said, because we can't look at the bench and feel any type of confidence.
Exactly. But anyway,
the
Elliot,
thing about Arteta is
very quickly.
The thing about Arteta is he doesn't trust over, I would say, 5 or 6 players outside 11 or 12. Maybe 13. He doesn't trust anybody else. He doesn't. And you know what? It affects us, especially in the title run, because these guys are overrun, even though they only play a match a week, which is no excuse really. But it affects us in the title run because you know what? Man City are coming on with fresh players who've been rested, as Diallo has said, for 2 to 3 months for this time. When Champions League's on the line and when the Premier League's on the line. And guess who's flying and guess who isn't flying? It's us. There it is.
Okay, bro. Thank you very much.
Build the squad, build the team. It's up to you. Cronkies, it's on you.
Agreed again. Listen, bro, thank you very much. Very forthright, very informative as usual. Well said. Speak to you soon, bro.
Love, bro.
Take care.
Cheers, mate.
We got Raz on the line.
Hello, guys. Hello,
looking very
everyone.
Philosophical.
Yeah, cheers from Bucharest, Romania.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Take it away, Raz. What did you think?
What a night. What a night, huh?
Not very good.
It's unfortunately, I'm one of the ones who believe that we've lost the chance to the title back with the Liverpool game. I mean, I remember we had 2 occasions during this season having 8 points clear ahead of everyone, and we've just lost it ourselves. Yeah. I mean,
there was a time when it was in our hands, but it's not now. If I could just ask you a quick question.
Please.
We spoke earlier to some of the other callers. We're very interested to find out. Obviously, the season's coming to an end and we've got a new season starting soon. We're going to be in the Champions League. 3 players in, 3 players out for you, very quickly.
From the bench or?
No, I mean, if you had an opportunity to bring in 3 players into the club, who would you bring in? And then by virtue, 3 players out, who would they be?
I think Caicedo would be a great addition.
Yeah.
The way he played today shows a lot of potential and a lot of game knowledge, and I believe at Arsenal he will grow even more. Who else? I've heard the rumors about Cancelo, but this is more like wishful thinking, I think.
Anyone else?
But we definitely need a striker who can score. I mean, we thought that Jesus is going to be such a striker at the beginning of the season, and you remember he was scoring in all the games, and he was making us happy and hopeful. But something happened on the way, and he just was lost among everyone. Box and
that's it.
Two players out. Holding.
Yep.
Perhaps Emil Smith Rowe. Yeah, he was great, and 2 seasons away, but 2 seasons back. But this season, maybe due to the fact that he didn't play as much as he wanted, maybe that's the reason he was average. Who else? Partey. He's as you said, guys, very huge ups and very low downs, and he is injury prone, and but overall the whole team is showing a lack of consistency.
Yep.
Which is really disastrous and scandalous, and maybe they don't have the mental power to face much powerful teams than they are.
No,
I don't know.
Point. That's a good point. And they're going to have to step up, because next season, obviously, we've got the Champions League to contend with. So,
and keep in mind, also please keep in mind that we've had this marvelous season, because it's marvelous if you consider the last ones. We've had this marvelous season on the back of some teams, some great teams that I don't know what happened to them, like Chelsea, like Liverpool, like Tottenham. I mean, we've been winning with all the small teams. Correction, we almost all the small teams, because I'm sorry to say, but you can't have this horrendous display with Southampton, with Bournemouth. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are shouting the whole season, we might get the title, we have a stupendous season, whatever, and you just have such display with teams that were struggling to. It's
not a good look. But no, bro,
it's not good.
No, I hear you. Again, some very good points you made there. Thank you very much, bro.
Thanks, Raz.
No worries.
Take care. Hopefully,
thanks,
speak
guys.
to you again
You
very
too.
soon.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Well, quite a collection of callers there, and they've all made in their own different ways some very good points. And the consistent theme is that squad there, man, needs to be looked at, doesn't it? There needs to be some surgery there, bro.
Yeah, I mean, we can't do revisionist thinking. Let's remember how bad the squad was when Arteta took over. I keep reminding people that first January transfer window, you got Pablo Mari and Cedric on loan. That was the window.
Yeah.
It's really, really poor. So there's been a big turnaround, and this is, we're still in that transition. Next season, we need to pick up a trophy. It's the last. If players like Saka and Martinelli don't pick up a trophy next season, I'm confident they'll want to leave and move to a bigger club if they're going to be starters for their national team, especially Saka, key player in the national team as well. And this overall season, just the only thing I'd push back on, a lot of the callers, very sensible, I agree with them. I would rank this season a 7 out of 10 because we've overachieved in the Premier League, but we've underachieved massively in cup competition. The overall season is not an 8 or a 9 out of 10 because we can't be coming out of seasons with no trophy, not an FA Cup, not a League Cup, not anything.
Listen, there are some Man United fans I know who are saying that they had a more successful season than us if they finish in the Champions League places. because they will point out that they've won a trophy
I think
and
that's a fair
qualified for
argument,
Champions League, whereas we haven't. So
I do think that's a fair argument. But a lot of the theme. Listen, it feels very, very bad today, but overall, there's places in the team we need to upgrade. But
I think the other thing as well, we do need to be cognizant of, and it's a point again that I raised during the watch along, and something that I've been thinking about for some weeks now, is that as well as we've played this season, as well as we've done in the league, it can be a blessing and a curse, because what tends to happen is that the level of expectation now goes up the next season. So for example, this week our expectation was to get in the Champions League. We've secured that with ease, relative ease. Next season, people are looking for a sustained title challenge, and to do well in the Champions League. Doing well in the Champions League is not taking part in it. Doing well in the Champions League is getting through the group stages and being at what I call the business end of the tournament. If you don't do that, a lot of people will regard that as failure. So next season is big, and the preparation for that needs to start now.
100%.
It hasn't done already.
And that's why I wouldn't just throw in players that might be just out, that might be on their way out of the door. And some people were throwing out names that they might want to get rid of, like Partey and Deeney, two very talented players, no doubt about it. I personally would get rid of Partey and keep Deeney, but they brought up
you're not
Elliot.
that impressed with Partey.
I'm not super. I'm very unimpressed with Partey, to be honest with you. Wow. And but what Elliot said is a really good point. Injury record. If that's going to be the spine of our team, we always talk about that striker.
But what about would you keep Jorginho then?
I'd keep him as a backup.
Okay.
Jorginho is more reliable as a backup than Partey is. We've seen Jorginho come off the bench and be good more times than we've seen that from Thomas Partey. If we can go and get a Rice or Caicedo to be a starting six, and then have Jorginho come off the bench, he's got that experience. But also Partey and Deeney have really bad injury records. Are these players that you can actually rely on? Maybe not. Huge amounts of things to consider, so many different things to consider for Arteta going into this transfer window, and everything's got to be focused on the transfer window now, because there's no chance that we can possibly win this title.
Okay, so let me put it back to you then. We asked the callers, what would be your 3 in, 3 out?
I would have Tony's facing a ban, so that's going to come down soon, but someone of that, but for a striker, I would have someone of that style, be that Tony, be that Vlahovic, someone who's more of a target man. You have to remember that Jesus at City wasn't the starting striker, and he made up a striker department of him and Aguero, one of the best strikers Premier League's ever seen. And now he's the leader of the striking department, which is him and Nketiah. So it's quite a lot less firepower than previously he's maybe used to. So we'd bring in a target man in Vlahovic or potentially Ivan Toney. I would bring in either Partey, either Rice or Caicedo. I'm maybe leaning towards Caicedo because of playing multiple positions, but Rice is very very versatile as well. And then maybe both. Maybe I bring in Rice and Caicedo with Vlahovic, with a view that Caicedo can also cover at right back. Tomiyasu will be back from injury. I think that defensive department I would keep as is. And the players that would go out would be Rob Holding would go out, Reece Nelson end of contract, and Nketiah would go out, and Thomas Partey would go out. And I would have Rice, Caicedo, Xhaka, Jorginho, all of those players available for the midfield. I would have a target man, Gabby Jesus and Balogun as the striking department. And then obviously we've got quite a few options on the wings when everybody's fit.
Yeah, you know what? 3 in, 3 out. I could go for more than that, to be honest with you. But
that's the hard part. It's refined to 3.
If it's just 3. So basically, you're looking at the spine of the side, then, aren't you? Centre back, midfield, striker. Right. Let me. Centre back is difficult because I don't know which centre backs will be on the market.
Yeah, just if you're bringing somebody in, forget about the market.
Yeah, so
just do it nice.
A centre back, but definitely midfield, Caicedo or Rice, or maybe both. And up front, I've been saying it for a while now. Ivan Toney for me.
Okay.
I reckon if we push the boat out, we could get him from Brentford. In the week, the manager was talking about Toney would be worth up to 100 million. So when a manager starts talking like that, that means he's already preparing.
Yeah.
He's basically letting everybody out there
same
know.
thing about West Ham, about Rice. So yeah. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much where we sit.
Just to round up for today, I'll go first and I'll let you have the last word. Very disappointing. As a lot of the callers said, I can't help but think, given the drop-off between last week and this week, that the game at Everton sounds simplistic to say, and I know some people say, "Nah, they're professionals, it shouldn't go like that." But trust me, they are human beings. It probably did go like that. As soon as they saw City smoke Everton, they probably thought, "Oh, we're up against it today." And then when they didn't start well, they go a goal down 5 minutes after the second half starting. Slowly but surely, any little remaining confidence in them just evaporated. Yes. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have a last word, to be honest with you. Disappointing, underwhelming, no fight. That's it.
And there you have it. Disappointing day. Smash the like button, people. We really do appreciate that. That's great for the algorithms, and we really appreciate. Smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Keep supporting, and we appreciate you very much, and we'll see you soon. We're out next week. Take care.